Welcome to Brains, Brawn, and Bougie, a podcast hosted by three lifelong friends who are unapologetically authentic and never afraid to say what's on our minds.
From what's happening in our lives to what's happening in the world around us, we bring our honest opinions, real conversation, and plenty of laughs.
Join us as we unpack life, love, ambition, and everything in between, with real talk, real humor, and just the right amount of bougie.
Brains, brawn, and bougie, yeah, we bring the whole thing. Smart talk, strong moves, living life like a queen. Tune in, level up, every week we go deep. Brains, brawn, and bougie, this is where you find your peak.
Hi, I'm Patty.
Hello, I'm Renee.
And I'm Eileen, and welcome to this episode of Brains, Brawn, and Bougie. Now, today, we're going to be talking about online dating. The good, the bizarre, and the murder.
Why does it always come down to murder?
Because I'm just intrigued, and there's just so many weird things out there. So anyway.
You're obsessed. Okay.
I am obsessed. And so before we get started, I just want to see what you gals have been up to. I feel like I haven't talked to Renee in a millennium. Like, it's been so long. You've been traveling around Europe, just like we all want to do. Tell us what happened.
I ate a lot of desserts and a lot of food.
Good for you.
I did
But you
all
did a
the
lot
things.
of this, right? You did a lot of biking?
I did do a lot of biking. For those cyclists in the know people, I did a day that had 14% grade and 2 days that had 13 and a half. So that, people, is what heart attacks are made out of. I was on vacation and was like, who has an AED handy? But it was wonderful. I went with a couple family members and my husband and went to all kinds of places I've never been. We did a little just on our own in London. I've never been in London, and it was fabulous. What a cool city.
London is awesome.
I love it.
And the weather is exactly what you would think it would be. Just on the verge of this is total shit, but yet we were able to do everything we wanted to do. And it was great. In London, we went to the theater and we watched Cabaret. I don't know if anyone has seen Cabaret before.
I don't think so, but I know it.
No.
Oh, well,
I know the songs.
It was amazing, fabulous, all the things. And it takes place in the Kit Kat Club in Berlin, right before World War II broke out. And it was playing in the Kit Kat Club in London. So it was pretty cool. Then we went on our bike adventure, and a plug to VBT. They are freaking awesome. Tour guides are fabulous. They're all local. You're not of want for anything, but they work you. I mean, they provide the routes, and of course the routes are, here's what you're going to do, but here, if you want to do a little extra, you can do a little extra. And if you're not up for it today, we'll rack your bike and no big deal. So they're super accommodating, and we had a fabulous time. And
That's awesome.
the travel home kicked my ass. So here I am.
I just need to ask you, when you're going up a 14% grade, which if you don't
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
that's hard.
That is hard.
It was really hard.
Did you literally have flames coming out of your ass? And if so, did that propel you faster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It is amazing. I can't even look at my speed because I'm pretty sure if I went any slower, I would just tip over.
Yeah.
But it's just like, go. And of course, there are a few people on e-bikes on the trip, which I love the e-bikes because it allows everybody to do everything. But there is something about just working your ass off up a hill and then somebody on an e-bike comes by. However, on the 14% grade, there were people walking with their e-bikes. And I was like, yes, because it was crazy. Anyway, it was good. I really had fun.
Done hills like that. Now, years and years ago, I haven't biked in years, but they're hard. That's hard.
Yeah. Well, we do not a lot, but a fair amount of 12% when we're in Colorado. And I was shocked at 2 more degrees. It was a killer. But it was fun, and I accomplished it. No speed records were broken. So Yeah.
That's good.
And then they give you treats when you get to the top of the hill. So there's so much food on these trips. You're like, yeah, my spandex is really getting tested. But anyway, it was great. It was fun.
Awesome.
Glad to be home.
Patricia,
So much fun.
yeah.
Glad you made it back.
What's going on with you,
Yay.
Patricia?
So, since we have last met, my daughter has graduated from college.
Oh, you're such an old lady.
I am an old lady.
Yes.
She has gotten a job.
Nice.
Yep, we're excited about that. She'll be working in Iowa for a little school as a missions counselor. And
Perfect.
she's in France right now, in the south of France, living her best life with some really good friends. So she's having a great time. But enough about her. We're going to talk about me. I am super proud of this. You all know I've been working on becoming a coach. I've been trying to build a business, and I am a true believer in lifelong learning. So I have a doctorate. I could probably step out and put up a shingle and be a coach and say I'm a coach, but I wanted to know the right way to do it. And so I spent some money on training, got certified through that. But the International Coaching Federation also gives a certification. And so I took that and I passed it. Yay!
I would like
Yay.
to interrupt for a
Yes.
second. Could you be a little more specific? Are you coaching the women's soccer team? Are you coaching a fitness class? Are you coaching me to be a better podcaster? Patricia,
Good
details.
point. Good point.
Yes.
Because in my past, I have coached Little League softball and volleyball, but this is executive leadership
Thank
coaching. So,
you.
you know, but the thing about coaching is there's really is a right and a wrong way to do it. And the hardest thing I found out when I started was I don't get to just tell people what to do, because
What?
I love to tell people what to do. Ask all my friends. They say I'm bossy. That is not a bad thing.
No.
But anyway,
You
in
can boss me
coaching,
around anytime.
I do. In coaching, what you do is you get the people you're coaching, your clients, to figure things out for themselves. So it's a real process. There's lots of steps we go through. We're trying to get people who are doing things well to do things great. So, maybe they're not getting promoted as quickly as they want. Maybe they're moving into leadership roles. Maybe they're trying to deal with some difficult family members, things that are not therapy, because I am not a therapist. Anyway, I have spent a long time on this, and I'm really excited. I'm working with some clients, but I am looking for more. So if anybody's interested in coaching, they just need to hit me up and I'll tell you all about it. So that's what I've been
Awesome.
For
doing.
you. Congratulations.
I'd like to tie that back to when we had Tracy Newell on. And
Yes.
she was talking about getting into the C-suite or just like doing more and experiencing more. And I think Patty has that executive coaching knowledge. And so if there's anyone out there that wants to be in leadership, like I have said before, I did it through mentorship a long time ago because I didn't have executive coaching when I first became
Right.
a leader. But hook up with Patty, send her a little email and say interested to talk to you more. So good luck to you, Patty. I think
Please
that's
do.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eileen.
That would be Patty at
At-
brainsbrawnandbougie.com.
That's
Thank you,
right.
Renee.
Thanks, Renee. I love the plug. Okay, let's find out what Eileen's been doing. What
Well,
have you been doing?
so I'm in the final stretch of the second home that we are designing, and I ordered all the furniture over the weekend because I got the Memorial Day sale to stage it, and it's going to be very subdued colors. Looked like it came from Pottery Barn, but it didn't. So I'm doing that, and then last night I met a colleague of mine from my last job, Eric Trexler. He heads up all federal business for the company, and met for cocktails. And it's amazing how after 6 months of not seeing or talking to someone, you pick up right where you left off. He and I just so gelled when I was there leading enablement, and he was so brutally honest of what he thought was good and bad. He did say it was the best education that he ever had in a company. Yay. And
Yay.
yeah, we had a great time reminiscing. And then he asked me, how's retirement? And Joel is sitting there, and I'm like, Joel, how is
Yeah.
my retirement? He just like I can't, she's wandering around the house. She doesn't know what to do. Which is partly true. I'm still going through the transition phase of working full time and feeling like you have a purpose to building a new life for yourself where there is purpose, but a lot of it is well-being and taking care of yourself, really making sure that you're doing those things that you didn't have time to do before. And so that's what I'm really focused on. I'm working out 2 to 3 times a day. I've been eating a lot more and working on my macros and
Well,
getting my
good.
protein
I'm
in.
glad.
Yes.
Glad you're
Um,
eating.
yes. And so, I'm really focused on things that I can control. Where in the work
Good
world,
for you.
there's so much that you can't, right? So that's what I've been up to. Yeah. Fun. But
Yeah.
speaking of my husband, Joel, I met him on Match. So I'm kind of an expert on this online dating thing, and I have some stories that I'll share because they're just outrightly bizarre. But I met him on Match, and I just got back on Match. He was going to go off. He saw me and reached out, and we had lunch on December 1st at P.F. Chang's at the Mission Mall in Orange County. And it was a 3-hour lunch. I've never laughed so hard in my life. I missed 2 conference calls. And if you know me, I do not miss a work call. And I just completely blew them off. And that was my last first date. And we got engaged
Cool.
5 months later in Paris at the top of the Arc de Triomphe. And so I'm living proof that, the online dating services can work. My son
And
met
I'm living
his
proof
fiance.
that they don't.
They don't. Well, we're going to have a little contest
No,
for
I'm
you, Patty,
teasing.
that I'm going to
I
announce
am
later.
teasing on that. I actually did a little online dating in my past too, but I
Well,
was
and we'll
fairly
talk about
successful at
that.
it,
But I think Renee
I
and I
know.
are going to
Okay.
have a challenge for you later. So my son did meet his fiance on a website as well, and they're getting married next April. But I just think it's interesting that it is really how you meet people today. When we were growing up, you would work with them or meet them in a bar, right? And then dating services started to come around, and then they became very niche. Like, you can meet a cowboy or a farmer if you want to. There's tons of them out there for, heterosexuals and for gay and lesbian. Whatever you're into, there is a dating site out there. So there are thousands of them around the world. But Patty, I'd like to hear what your experience was back in the day with online. When was the last time you were on an online dating site?
I was going to say, before you go into your past experience, have you been on one lately?
No, but
Okay.
Renee and I had this conversation and I think I know what challenge you're going to give me, but I'll find out later. But we had this conversation that as the only single one, I should do some podcast research and go on dating sites. Well, I told this to my daughter, who was very excited about it. So when she gets back from France, maybe we'll set something up. But no, I have not been on anything lately. Okay, my internet dating goes way back to the 90s. What you think? Did people actually have internet dating in the 90s? Yes. So there was a site called, I want to say it was American Singles. I don't know why, but so this would have been somewhere around 97, 98. I was living on Vanderbilt's campus, grad school student at the time. And I said about Vanderbilt, the men I met, they were either married, gay, or a little weird. And if you know Nashville is not an easy dating scene. It's super
Really?
difficult. Oh, everybody says that.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
It was good thing it was the 90s, because American Single sounds like a right wing.
I'm not sure that was the name, but it was something like that.
It's like, whites only need apply.
Well, okay, so
yeah, you better step that one girl back.
So let's keep in mind, I was in great shape, probably 30, 40 pounds lighter than I am now. No children, working on my degree. Here's what I always said about that time. I went on dates with 7 different men, and every single one of them was who they said they were.
Oh.
And I had a good time with them. And several of them, they asked me out a couple times. One I ended up dating for quite a while. It didn't work out, but anyway, so that was it. Great. So then I started dating somebody a little bit more seriously, not off the internet. And it ended badly. Eileen helped me through some of that one. And then I just kind of stopped dating for a while. And it was before I met Maggie's dad. And I went back online. I don't know if it was Match at that time or not. I'm not sure when Match started. Do you know, Eileen? Did you
When
any of
it
your
started,
research show
but
that?
no, I didn't have exactly when they started, but there was some
Okay.
really primary ones like eHarmony and Match, and those were meant more for
Yeah,
the
I know I
serious
was.
relationships.
Yes. Yes, I was on. I know at one point I've been on both of those. And the hardest thing for me, well, let me just say this first about the dating on that. So I was a little older. It was not as great as my first round. I went on a few dates, nothing clicked. But online dating takes a lot of time. Like you have
It's a
to
job.
constantly check it. You have to answer these things, and then you're deciding if you want to do all this other stuff. So what I remember was how much work it was. Well, then I met Maggie's dad, then I had Maggie, and then I just kind of stopped. But occasionally after Tinder came out,
Mhm.
I got on Tinder thinking I'll try this. And this is before it was just a hookup site. I've never gone on any dates since then off of any internet or online apps. But I do remember looking at the stuff and thinking, oh, I'll try. And the banter back and forth it's not me. I'm not really comfortable with it.
Sounds exhausting.
It's exhausting. And I remember one time there's this guy and we're going back and forth. And then I said something about, he was talking about a date, and he said something about his wife. So it was an open marriage. And I was like, that's
Oops.
just not for me. And he was like,
Oops,
okay, I understand.
look at the time.
It was,
I gotta go.
I know. Exactly. So, but my daughter met her current boyfriend on Hinge, and I think
Yep.
I'm going to try Hinge. So that's
Hinge
what
or
I'm thinking
Bumble.
of.
There's a lot of free ones
Yeah.
out there. Bumble gets a lot
Yeah.
of, because I think on Bumble the woman reaches out first, which I
Right.
find interesting. It gives them more control. I can give you some stats
Mhm.
though that I found on,
Okay.
and it depends on what you call overall success. Is that they found a long-term partner? Did they get married, or did they just find a relationship? You got to define success the way you define success. So, and this is from 2025 going into 2026. About 30% of US adults in relationships say they met their partner online. And just think about what happened during the pandemic. That's the only way you could meet people. And there were so
Yeah.
many online relationships where it was really hard to meet someone in person. Only about 12% of dating app users report finding a committed relationship through apps. So, like marriage.
What was that number?
Right. 12%.
What was that number? 12? Okay.
Yeah, 12. Roughly 55% of users say they got at least one real life date from the app, and around 1 in 5 marriages that started after 2013 began online. So 25% of marriages began online.
Wasn't there a study done where the algorithm was actually in such a way that it encouraged not a matchup? Like they were promoting that their sites were to make matches, but in reality, behind the scenes, if you make a match, you stop using the app. So the app was actually working against matching people up.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I
keeping
didn't
people
see
in that cycle.
Yeah.
It makes some sense. Although Hinge markets itself on the idea that you're going to get off the app.
Right.
That's their marketing ploy. Yeah, which is interesting.
Sometimes the marketing isn't exactly what happens.
That's true.
Yeah. It's like it's that whole built-in obsolescence. You start looking at these stats and how people meet because there's A lot of offices that people have not gone back to work in the office, so you don't meet people
Right.
there.
Yeah.
A lot of people have kind of slowed down going to bars and stuff. We would go out to bars all the time, right?
Yeah, as an older adult, it's like I don't want to meet some guy at a
No.
bar because I don't hang out at bars. So
Right,
why would I
right.
want to meet that person at a bar?
Well, and I met
Yeah.
my first husband at work, and that was great. And that, that relationship lasted 15 years, married for 10. Met the next half marriage in a bar. Wonder why that one didn't work out. And then I met the love of my life on online dating. So I've had experience with all three of those. I do have to tell you though, with all the good, there are bizarre. And like Patty said, sometimes things happen in a date. You're like, wait, what? What did you just say? What's happening? So I have a few bizarre stories to share about my online days. And this was all pretty much on Match. I tried eHarmony, but people were mostly geographically undesirable that I would match with. And I wanted someone, closer because I had kids and stuff.
Here's the one thing I think about, or eHarmony. Well, they used to market, fill out this questionnaire so you can meet somebody just like you. And I'd be like, who wants to
date me?
somebody just like yourself?
That's so true.
That sounds exhausting.
That's so true.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
did
even
want
want-
all the stuff. It's a psychological test
Yeah.
kind of that you take with eHarmony to kind of figure out, where your center is and how you interpret things and your likes and dislikes and all that kind of stuff. But it took a long time to fill out, where a Match is a lot different. You put
Okay,
the
I get
profile
bored
up
about
and-
halfway
long
through.
time. A
Yeah,
long time. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, no.
Yeah, but they're still
I'm not
rated.
doing homework.
No, they're still rated quite high. Forbes looked at all the dating sites. eHarmony was number one for them. And this was done in 2026. So eHarmony was number one.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Do you have to pay for all of these sites?
Not all of them, some
not
of them.
not the apps that are like the quick. Let's
Tinder,
quick little snapshot, you
Bumble,
swipe
yeah,
right
you
or
don't have
left.
to pay for them.
Not those. I think you can pay to do more, but you can do a basic.
You can. It allows you to
Yeah.
swipe faster.
Yeah, so again, number one was eHarmony. Number two is a site called Date My Age. Number three, dating.com.
Right.
And that one only has women on it.
Probably.
So you got to be a lesbian to date
No.
my age.
That's hers for the lesbians. Number four is Match. Number five is Twalkify. TAWKIFY.
What?
I've heard
Twalkify.
of that. I
I have not.
Okay.
I have
What does
not.
it stand for?
I don't know. And then number six is Our Time. Number seven is Our Love. So those are what Forbes looked at as far as the success rates.
Our love.
Our Love with the little butterfly.
Okay, Patty,
So-
if you go on to Our Time, just be careful that you don't match with somebody that you got to change their diaper in like the
Exactly.
very near future. Because there's got to be a whole crew of people that are looking
So
for
wait
a
a minute.
nursemaid.
Wait a minute. It depends on how much money
Why?
he has, Patty. How much money?
That's true. If he has a ton of money, I'll change a diaper. or
And
two.
depending on how many
Yeah.
commas, that will tell you how many years you can stay with him. That, if there's 4 commas in the number, changing a
but part
diaper
of
to
the
Renee is
whole
not a big deal.
Okay, but you better make sure you can get into that will super duper quick. Like, you gotta make sure that will gets changed right away before he, has the big one and you're banging his nursemaid.
And then you got to
Careful.
fight with all his kids.
I'm looking up. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm looking up Twalkify quickly, and this is kind of interesting because it's like you meet with a matchmaker on there,
Yeah. They have a
Oh.
and then they
one-on-one
set you up
matchmaker.
and they plan your first date and
Ooh.
everything. Yeah,
I like that.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it's pricey.
Oh, I'm sure.
You're loaded.
Well,
you're a coach.
and just know that a lot of cultures, like Indian cultures, do use matchmakers primarily for marriages. We just watched it. I think it's called My Sweet Bobby on Netflix. I thought it was hysterical because I'm like, how do you fall for that? I don't understand. So there's Sweet Bobby, my catfish nightmare. So this is the bizarre, right? So what happened with this woman, she lived in the UK, she was lovely, but she was just kind of over the cusp of what the marriage age normally is, right? And so she went on to an online dating and she met Bobby. And long story short, Bobby was gorgeous. He lived a very elaborate lifestyle, traveled, lived between like Africa and Europe and blah, blah, blah. And she never saw him on a video. They never did a Zoom call. There was always a reason why, right? Like it didn't work. And then for some reason, he's in protective witness custody in New York. And he was almost
How
dying.
convenient.
I know. But then
Of course.
while he was
Did he
going
need
through
money?
this, no, but when he was going through this, he asked her to marry him, and she said yes.
Oh, it's so romantic.
Fast forward, this lasted 9 years. 9
Oh
years.
my God.
Never met him.
Ah.
It turned out to be one of her female cousins that was
What?
pretending, stole an identity of, I think, a brother that she had dated, and then built this whole environment of people, this whole circle of people that were fictitious around this Bobby person. So then this girl became friends with all these people. What was all the cousins doing? So the cousin 24 hours a day is having conversations with different people. Bizarre. And I'm just thinking, for 9 years, why didn't you get on a plane to New York?
Cousin, yeah. That other cousin, she must have did something to that cousin, like some
Really
Christmas
pissed her
past.
off.
And
Yeah.
she was like,
they didn't
I'm going to get you,
say-
bitch.
It's settled out of court. But it got to the point where the girl that was catfished found out where Bobby lived in the UK and went and knocked on his door, and his wife and baby were there too. And he's like, I don't know you. I've never met you before in my life. I have no idea who you are. And he didn't. 'Cause someone
9
took
years.
9 years.
9 years.
9 years. And so just, I mean, come on. There's
What's
signs,
worse?
right?
If agreeing to marry someone you've never met, 9 years, or the person who perpetrated it, her cousin, who's worse? I mean,
Yeah, right.
Well, I do
Well,
think the
obviously the
devious
cousin,
one is
but-
worse, right? But I do think that
The cousin is worse.
sometimes women find themselves in a situation, whether it be culture or whatever, or in a state of very low self-esteem, just having that fantasy of something, that when someone is talking to you on these sites and they're so loving and you're so beautiful and you're so this and you're just drinking this in and you build all these hopes and you excuse the inconsistencies and you focus on the kindness and the charm and the elaborate lifestyle and all these things. And so, I'm sure she wanted to kick herself around the block, because then she comes out of this and she's in her 40s, and it was just so devastating. But I did like the end of it, is when she just went into investigation, like she just went deep.
Yeah.
And she figured it out because she had had enough. Now, I would have had enough in maybe 9 days if I couldn't get on a video call with
Right.
somebody, right? So
Okay,
yeah.
I think that whole thing too is so almost creepy, where it's like, oh, it's just so gushy to hold somebody for 9 years. That sounds
Yeah.
syrupy and exhausting.
It is. And I think that the whole catfish thing, they say that, about 10 to 20% of profiles on these sites have some sort of elaboration to it. Like, could be AI enhanced images. They say to do a reverse image lookup to see if that's really who you're talking to. If the photos are too good, check it
Yeah.
out.
well,
if
you
they
can
want it,
you can actually there are companies that you can pay, but they will tell you whether or not it's popping up in different areas.
Well,
as
I
a
like
scam.
that idea of the third party. At least they probably has some vetting to do. And it's just like a girlfriend or a guy friend introducing you to somebody, but at least they know both parties.
yeah.
And
But I
that
think
seems like the
there's
way to go. I like that.
there are flags though that I think you just have to pay attention to. Too much gushy talk, like I've never felt this way
Yeah.
before, I'm madly in love with you too soon. They have you get off the site and start conversing on WhatsApp or some other communication. They ask you for money, like all that kind of stuff. And so there are flags, but again, I don't want to discredit women that sometimes fall for this, because men can fall for it too. I just think it's where you are in your life, in your head, in your dating experience. So growing up as a salesman, my father was a salesman. And when you are in sales, you always try to sell yourself because people buy from people, right? So I would go on these horrible dates and I didn't like the guy. Like there was no match there, but I wanted him to really like me. And I kept getting these second dates. And then I had to do I don't think it's really a match. I mean, that's one of the hardest things to do, but I would do it in person at the end of that date. But I still flirted and, listened and batted my eyes and all those things that you do to try to get someone to like you, because that's what I grew up doing. And then I remember sitting there one day going, the fuck am I doing? Like, it's not fair to them, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of work for me, and this is stupid, and I have to get really picky. But I have gone on dates where I was sitting at a bar, very nice looking gentleman that we had met online, and we were going to meet for a drink and then decide if we were going to go to dinner or not. And halfway through the cocktail, I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. It was a big purse that hit him in the head. His wife was having him tailed.
No.
He was married.
Oh God, that's
His wife.
hysterical.
And so I just slowly
First
slid.
date.
Yeah, I just slid off the bar stool and just exited. And I was like, oh, yeah, totally married. And then
I
there
think
was,
that is what?
yeah.
Okay,
And then there
our
was a time.
relationships a lot, and now you want to do it times 2 or 3. You're
Yeah,
obviously not putting yourself out for that relationship, because who the hell wants to balance 2 or 3 or 4 relationships?
But you know
that
what?
sounds exhausting.
Too
There's
much
a
work.
there's a high number of men, and I would say women, but mostly men on these sites that are married. So it's just know that and be conscious of that. The other date I went on, sitting there over dinner, very nice, and then he starts to cry. I mean, literally sobbing. And I'm like,
that makes Renee laugh.
well, and I'm like, is it me?
Like, get your shit together, dude. I am not dealing with this. I'm not your therapy session.
I know. I'm like, what's wrong? He goes,
I gotta go.
He goes, I miss my ex-wife so much. Again, pushed away from the table, slid out, and went home. And I remember I had called I called my main game, Michael, before the date. He goes, I hope it goes well. And I'm like, me too. 10 minutes later, I call him. I'm like, I'm on my way home. He's like, what the hell happened? I'm like, well, he has some things he's got to work through. He's not ready for this.
God.
Oh God,
those are bizarre.
I had a guy take me out to, it was a restaurant called 5 Feet in Laguna Beach. It no longer exists, but if you're from there, you would recognize it. It was like 1,000 plate dinner. It was really expensive. He started to tell me how he ended up finding his wife doing heroin in their bathroom with one of the guys that he knew from the gym. And and then he's like, so do you work out? I said, yeah. And he goes, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I go to the gym. He goes, oh my God. And he just started like railing at me because I went to the gym just like this guy did. And da-da-da-da-da. And then he started getting into how much he was paying for dinner and what he expected for that price of dinner, which I'm not even going to say out loud. I got a taxi and went home. I had the one where I was sitting at Starbucks and I was going to meet someone for coffee, and he looked great in his profile. He was divorced. He had 2 kids, lived local, was very interesting. I think he was a writer or something. And I do believe you should post recent photos of yourself on these sites. Mm-hmm. He clearly
would agree,
because there was some major extra LBs that got out of that car. And I'm just like, no, 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 no. And then he walks in, I'm like, hi. You know, and I
And
sat
then
through
you went
coffee.
into your I can't help but be nice mode.
That's
I
right.
did. And I had coffee with him. And you know
Yeah.
what? Actually, he was very nice. And we talked as friends.
Right.
I did tell him that I didn't think there was a match. And he said if he would have put his picture on that depicted what he really looked like, he goes, someone like you would never have answered. I said, but that's false representation. Like, you want someone
Right.
that appreciates the way you are to reach out to you. And so I was always really honest. I think what I did, how I met Joel, is that took me a long time to figure this out. I figured out what I didn't want. What am I not willing to tolerate with someone? So that was my profile. You know, I'm looking for a loving relationship to build a family around with kids. Here's what I don't want. And I just listed it out. And that's what attracted Joel, because he didn't want those things either. But I did have some guys that would comment on my profile. One of them was like, you're a cunt. Okay, I don't think I would date you anyway. You can just keep moving.
Screw them. Yeah, that's not.
Just
why?
awful things.
What does it behoove them to say that in the first place?
Like, it makes them feel better.
So the one thing though, and again, I can't remember where I saw this, but it was be careful not to set your expectations, because it was also, soon as you say 6'1", this was some kind of post that went on about your true love is most likely from 5'6" to 5'8" or 5'9". I don't know what her rationale was, but it went into all of these reasons. And as soon as you start blue eyes, blonde hair, 6 feet, whatever it is, you start missing out on so many of the personalities, I have to think, that you might just be attracted to. Obviously, you want some parameters, Eileen, like you said, your lifestyles were, you weren't attracted to them, and maybe your abilities to do things weren't the same. But on the other hand, it's like, you know, again, what are the things you enjoy? The getting out and about, working out, you know, going for walks, adventures, or whatever. Don't start nitpicking on the little stuff.
That's too specific, though, I think, even Renee, because that's why I did the I don't want someone who leads a sedentary lifestyle. So that opens it up to walking, hiking, bike, whatever. I didn't care. I just wanted to do it with someone. I didn't want someone who smoked. I didn't want someone who, you know, drank 7 days a week. I didn't want someone who didn't have children. I didn't want someone who wasn't married before, because I wanted this to be the right guy that had the same experiences that I had on the surface. And when I walked into that P.F. Chang's and saw Joel and saw that smile, I mean, it was instant, like instantaneous, because we already kind of got through the things that we didn't want. So what was left over was very grounded and similar.
Interesting that you said you wanted somebody that had kids. One holiday, my brother-in-law loves to do this. Is like, if you were instantly single, what are the things that you would not want? I was the no smoking and being active and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I said is, I don't want kids. Like, I feel like I've done my time.
Now,
I've done my time. I don't want to raise anybody else's kids.
This was 16 years ago. No, but it was 16 years ago. Yeah. My kids are 12.
It was 16.
And just hold on
a second. But that means you're raising somebody else's kids.
No, it doesn't. So let me tell you what it's like to be a stepmom. First of all, though, I fucked up my kids so bad, I needed a second chance, right? I needed to ruin somebody else's children. So,
well, I probably should.
Yeah. As a stepmom and as a stepfather, we figured that out very early. And I didn't discipline them, but I was there to talk to them and reason with them and show them things and give them experiences. But they were not. I didn't drive them to practice. I didn't take them to school. I didn't get them up in the morning. I didn't make their lunch because I still had 2 boys that I was doing all that shit for, right? So Did I go to their swim meets? Yeah. Did I go to their games? Sure. Did I participate in family things? Yes. But I never took that step forward of trying to be their mom because they already had a great mom. They're great kids. They're 19 and 21. And I met them when they were like 2 and 5, just little peanuts. And so they've known me basically all their life. And the cards that I get on Mother's Day from them, they're so special because they're like, you're not only our stepmom, but you're my friend. And I trust you implicitly. And thank you for helping me grow up and be the person I could talk to when I couldn't talk to my parents. Now I did tell them if I thought they did something stupid and they got in trouble for it, but I would just sit there and talk to them and I wasn't emotional. So not everyone handles step parenting that way, but that's the way we did it.
According to Disney, all stepmothers are wicked.
Are evil.
Wicked.
Yes.
Okay, I have to say I'm agreeing with Renee a little bit more on this one. I do remember when you and Joel got together and you got married, and I was like, oh my gosh, those kids are so young. She has to go through that all over again because it's, it limits so much of what you can do when you have very young children. And your kids were, significantly older. At the time I felt. All that being said, everybody's different. Everybody goes through different things and wants to do different things in their lives. So what I want, half the people I know don't want that. Right. So, so I knew that you were going to do what was best for you. But in my thing too, I'm kind of like, I didn't want anybody with really young children.
Again, now I wouldn't.
Tiny little bit of stuff I did. Well, of course you wouldn't now because
would you think differently if you did not have the kind of job you had though? Because you were kind of unavailable just because you had this big job with all the traveling. Right. Say if you were a stay-at-home mom to your 2 kids, how can you not be knee-deep in raising those other 2 kids?
I don't think you have to, because when you are with someone that is joint custody is a beautiful thing. So I would have my kids 1 week on, 1 week off. So the week I didn't have them, I traveled, right? So in that case, Joel's kids were not my responsibility. Like if he had to do something, he did it, right? He didn't travel or anything. I don't know what I would be like as a stay-home mom because I literally couldn't wait to get back to work after I got my kids. I'm like, all right, not my thing. But I think, I probably would have been in a different frame of mind as a stay-home mom. It's the hardest freaking job in the world. And I probably would have been more involved, but I have to respect their mother. I cannot overstep.
Well, you do.
You have to respect that.
You do, but we talked very recently about invisible labor, and as we know, Joel goes into this category of somebody who really does do his share. But imagine if he hadn't, your life could have been a lot different. So
I wouldn't have married him.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
It's like that woman that says, but I want you to want to do the dishes. It's not,
Exactly.
it's a little
but
different.
at the same, and you have to keep in mind, your ex-husband, you have a great relationship and seamless raising the kids. And it sounds like Joel had that same situation. I have to think that is not all that common. You got to think one relationship or the other is sideways.
Joel
you are not having this perfect.
No, Joel and his ex-wife did not have a good relationship at all. At all.
That's because he married.
I will tell you off
married
camera some
hot
of the things
bitch.
that happened. Now I adore her and her mother. The kids' grandkids. On this last Mother's Day, I invited their grandma to come because her mom was in China on work. And so it's gotten so much better over the years, but it's not easy to get along with your ex. And there are things that my ex-husband does, and I'm sure there's things that I do that drive each other batty, but we pick and choose our battles. We're respectful and we're calm.
Well, your exes.
Well,
there's a reason you're not married anymore.
It costs less to get along. It really does. You have to work harder at it, but it costs less money to get along. So
in the long run, especially
in the long run, but even going through the divorce, You know, our divorce cost us $2,500 in mediation, and that was it. And we split everything down the middle, and there was no money that changed hands after that. So, you know, Joel had to pay child support and alimony, you know, but that's what the state mandates. But Gary and I are like, no, we're good. Like, we can take care of the kids independently at the same level. We're good. And so I just think the older you get much more in tune with what you don't want. And I think it's a really important thing for people to think about out there, whether they're looking for the love of their life or if they're looking for a job, you know, whatever. I think it's really understanding those things that you just don't want to tolerate.
I think when Patty has her first date on one of these sites, like, you should invite all of us to go. Like, I think if any guy can handle a bunch of your girlfriends, like, yapping around at him.
You know what, Renee? We're gonna show up with clipboards. How much money do you make? Have you ever murdered anyone?
Because you, Eileen, and again, I don't know what podcast that was, but there's a great story of Eileen going on a weekend with a murderer.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of murder, that is part of the title. There are
true.
Situations where people.
I don't want Patty to get murdered. We have a podcast to do. Don't be putting anybody. Patty, stay alive.
I'll be very good.
Murder
I
dates.
promise. I will not.
All right, no murder dates.
Let's hear
Patty.
about the murder dates already there.
So if you want to watch a really interesting documentary, and again, it's on Netflix. It is called Lover, Stalker, Killer. And
not
really
watching it.
Bizarre, but it was woman. It was the woman who murdered.
Really?
Not the man. The man and the woman got together online. He was newly divorced. He moved to Omaha, where his ex-wife moved, so he could be with the kids. And he went online and he met this woman, and you know, they dated a couple times. Well, then this other woman came into his automotive shop, and then he ran into her again online. He said, "Oh my God, I know you." And so they started dating. She was lovely. And then he started getting these bizarre texts and emails from the girl that showed up at the mechanic site that he really liked. Like, you know, if you see this girl again, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to kill your family, and all, right? And so the original girl murdered the other woman because she didn't want him seeing her. So it like,
I am aware of this story.
Yes, it's very.
It was a dateline. It was a huge dateline.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I feel bad for the guy because he was going crazy. You know
why they had to do a documentary though, because it was very unusual. Unlike the guys murdering all the time.
Well, yeah, they're yes.
Hello,
and but most murders, when it has to do with couples, is someone that you know. It's not necessarily someone that you just know, right?
Yeah.
So
husband or wife, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
He's guilty. So, yeah.
So all the 2020, I'm like, he did it. He did it.
Again, Patty, that's why you need all of us there on a date. So whoever you're dating doesn't get any murder ideas. He's like, oh, there's just way too many of them keeping an eye on.
Maybe we should do my first one in Green Bay when we're there.
Oh, I'd like
there
that.
There you go. Because there's no psychos in Wisconsin. There's no
psychos
there.
No.
Exactly.
Nobody makes.
Just remember the flesh lamps.
I was going to say. Nobody making lamps out of anybody's skin.
No. So
I don't like how you say flesh lamps, though.
Well, I know it's gross. I will give you some stats, though, if you want to know. This is sexual assault.
All right.
It's far more common than murder.
Okay, here's the cheery part of our podcast.
So this is from BYU, Brigham Young. 14% of acquaintance rapes in their data set occurred during a first meetup arranged through a dating app. 14%. Like, that's cray-cray.
Patty is turning lesbian more and more as we talk.
If only it was that simple.
Right?
Oh.
Don't you understand
why? I have some great girlfriends.
I tell you, I get why you'd want a wife, right? Like, when
I
was married to my first husband.
Everybody should have a wife.
Yeah.
Everybody should have a wife. Doesn't mean you're a lesbian.
No. Not at all.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. And so
I think you
then-
should find a wife and we'll just get you an array of vibrators. And life is good. And you'll have the cleanest house and you'll get all your shit done.
That's right.
And you'll be going through
And you'll
a ton
always
of
get a
batteries.
birthday card, Renee.
Here's a problem with that, Renee. You're going to go through a lot of
What?
batteries. A lot of batteries will be used in that situation. And we talked
You
about
can
how
buy
you
them in
can't get
bulk
rid
at
of the
Costco.
batteries. I know, but what happens
Okay,
to the
Eileen.
landfill? Don't leave.
Give me another one of your death
Stats.
You know,
numbers,
stat.
stats.
Okay. So it is coming. So an analysis was
It's
done,
coming.
and they estimated that the odds of meeting a murderer through online dating is roughly 1 in 160,000 encounters. So Patty's got to go on 160,000
Oh.
dates.
Okay. All right.
okay.
I'll take
Yeah.
those odds.
Yeah.
Great.
Right. So I think we're going to be okay with this. But no, I do. If you're like me and you like murder stories, just get online and look for a documentary when it comes to online dating. I find the catfish ones to be ridiculous. Like, I don't know, especially with AI today. You should see the video that my husband made using AI yesterday. It was so incredibly just wrong on so many levels, and I'll try to hold it up to the camera so you can see it. So I just send it to me, and I'll just I'll send it to Lee to give her a laugh. Well, I sent it to 7 people.
Mama, let's get like a fake dot. Fake dot.
Oh my gosh. That is perfect.
Oh
He
my
literally
God.
made that on AI.
So
That's
here's the
so
thing.
funny.
I think
No wonder you
the
married
man,
him.
I think he's in his office working hard all day. This is what he's doing. So for the listeners who are not viewers, he made a video of himself dancing. He has a business suit on, and it's just hysterical. But he just put his face, and they did everything else.
I do want to say something, because you're talking a little bit about catfishing, and and I have seen, I don't know if you saw this in your research, but I've seen statistics that are pretty alarming, like 50% of the profiles on Match.com are scammers. Like, we're talking literal scammers. The people from other nations, they're trying to get money from vulnerable people in the States or all across the world. And so there's the catfish, the people who put out the different pictures and they turn out to not be who they really are. And there are the real scammers. And we didn't talk a lot about that. And we could do a whole other podcast.
I do have a stat.
But we all know people. Oh, you do? Okay.
Is it a
You just
murder
replied.
adjacent stat?
No. It's a catfishing stat. So the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, reported Americans lost over $1 billion annually due to online dating scams.
And we know of people personally that this has happened.
My mother got taken by the grandma scam, which was not online dating.
Your mom?
Oh my God, for $4,000. So the phone rang, and this young girl is crying, and she's like, "Grandma, I'm in Florida. I'm in jail." And it sounded like Emily knew everything about Emily and everything else. And I need you to send $4,000 worth of iTunes cards immediately, or they won't let me out. Well, my mom was in her early 90s. And so instead of calling Lee and saying, "Is Emily home?" she, in a snowstorm, made her housekeeper take her to Walmart, where she bought $4,000 worth of iTunes cards, called this place back, and gave them all the serial numbers.
Read all the numbers.
Yep.
So,
and
I know that stores
awful.
are looking for that now. So
they are,
oftentimes
but that was early
when they
on.
see that happening, they stop them because that's such a common scam now. But we know somebody who has a relative who lost everything. And
that's right.
And then did it again. And she was so deep in it that she just, as she said to her family, she goes, "I told so many lies," because they encourage you to tell your family lies about it because, because your family is telling you this is not real. and this person who's being so wonderful to you is telling you how much they love you. And they're like, well, you know, this is what you need to tell your family. And that's what she did. And she lost buckets of money. Buckets.
It's sad.
Like, we're talking her entire retirement.
Just, you guys got to be careful and look for the signs.
Patty?
And really look
Patty,
for the
Patty.
red flags, Patty.
What's my challenge?
Okay, here's your challenge. So we want you to use 2 different sites. You can pick whatever sites you want.
2 sites.
We have
Can
to
it be an
approve the
app?
Yeah. And Renee and I have to approve the profile.
Okay. I think I should do 1 app and 1 website.
Well, either way, we want you to go on it late. Don't go to the bad sites.
I think Hinge.
Okay,
'Cause
so
it's
I
new
can
and I've
tell
never
you
done
how
that.
they're rated. So Hinge is
Okay.
best for serious relationships. They have a very high match to date success and excellent relationship success reputation. The
Nice.
next one
I do
that
think you
is
should
high-
get laid. Like, just get
Well,
laid right away and check that off
Then
of the
that's
list.
Tinder.
And then you get
Then
serious
get on Tinder. Get on Tinder.
No,
Get
I
on
don't
Tinder.
want to do Tinder's a hookup site, isn't it?
It is.
I don't
It
want
is.
to. I don't
Oh.
want to have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get it out of the way. Get it out of your system. And then you can date serious.
So
Hey,
then
it's just
the-
my
then-
motherly advice for you.
So
you know.
then the next one, hold
You
on. Then
know.
the next
You know.
one, for is over 30 long-term relationship is what you're looking for. Medium match to date success, very high in relationship success reputation is match. Same thing with eHarmony. And then it just dives down from there. Bumble, best for balanced
I like
dating.
Bumble.
Yeah, and it's good for success. Coffee meets bagel. That's international dating. If you want to meet
Oh.
yourself a nice
I
Englishman,
feel like that has a little bit of this situation. Coffee meets bagel.
That's I
if it's international, how are they
I
doing
wouldn't
that?
mind living in another country. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Wow.
Huh. Okay.
So you pick the ones you want to do, and then Renee and I will approve the profiles, and then we'd like you to go on 2 dates for each one.
Oh my gosh, that's 4 dates. Oh my
Ah.
gosh. Okay.
Dates.
Is Maggie going to be mad? Does she want to take control of your dating life?
She comes home on Sunday, so I can start working on this, and maybe Monday, Tuesday, she can help me through it. Right?
I'm excited. Can I go
Yeah.
on the site to see? Yeah, I want to see your profile. I want to see all
I'll
of
do it.
it.
I'll let you know. Okay. Gosh.
Yeah.
All right. I want to tell you. So I was listening to a podcast today. I really like Two Hot Takes. For some reason, they were talking about something similar, but they were saying that one of their friends was talking about going on a date and said, "Gosh, I really, really hope they like me." And their friends looked at them and said, "Why are you worried about whether or not he likes you? Why
Yeah.
aren't you worried about whether or
Yeah.
not you like him?"
Because
And I
we
knew
all
something
wanna
like
be
this was
liked.
coming. So this is going to be my mantra. I'm going to worry about whether or not I like him.
Yeah, yeah. Don't
Well,
pull
you
in
know,
Eileen.
let
You
me-
don't have to be nice if you don't want
No,
to
I
be.
know.
I
right,
promise.
but-
I am too old to be nice. This
Yeah.
was,
But
see, what
let-
was this, 16 years ago? See, Eileen wouldn't do it now.
Yeah.
No, pet peeve.
She'd be like,
well,
"I'm
no,
outta here."
married. Pet peeve I have
Well-
though, is when people say, "I'm not here to be liked." Yeah, you are. Everybody wants to be liked.
Yeah,
So shut the fuck
everybody
up.
wants to be liked.
They
I don't
do.
care who
It's
you
like
are.
it's
Unless
human
you're
nature.
a true sociopath. Yeah. Well, even sociopaths like to be liked.
They do.
Everybody does.
Narcissists like to be
It's
liked.
very, very
they just
true.
don't like anyone,
Very
right?
true.
So yeah. But
I
anyway,
know,
so
I know. Okay.
I do hope that this has been somewhat educational. We have a homework assignment for Patty that came out of it that she's just tickled pink about it. You can tell.
And my goal is to have one good story, one bizarre story, and no murder stories.
No murder.
No murder
Okay.
stories. That's my goal.
Be careful on the bizarre story too. Yeah.
I know. I really don't.
I
like
want
that.
to know, are you going to do this in Nashville or Green Bay?
Well, I think I should
Or
definitely
Iowa.
try Green Bay. I mean,
No,
I won't be
that's
in-
definitely where the murderers are.
I'll be in Iowa long enough.
Sorry,
You
Iowa.
get a good farmer
Sorry.
in Iowa,
I could. Someday I'll tell you about the Easter I spent on a pig farm. Okay.
and then you can get a good cowboy in Nashville. I think we got this figured
Oh
out.
no, they're wannabe cowboys. We don't
Yeah.
have cowboys in Nashville.
No, you got to
don't
go to
have-
Colorado to get.
Yeah,
Like
or
legit.
Wyoming or
Texas.
Yeah.
Montana. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, All right.
All
Thank
right.
you, ladies. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Right. I guess,
This was
we
fun.
will. Yeah.
This
And
was fun.
when you're done with your
A
dating,
little
we'll have a
scary.
special podcast. Yeah. But,
Okay, great.
Hey, and people, if you are getting in line to date Patty, we're all watching, so there'll be no murderers or need
Or
not
weirdos.
apply. Yeah.
yeah.
Murderers and
No
weirdos
creepy
need not
dudes.
apply because we
No,
got
no
eyes
creepy
on
dudes.
this situation. No,
Okay,
But
we
all
got
right.
eyes.
nerds are okay. Nerds that have
No,
their
Patty's a
PhD
nerd.
are fine. I was a nerd
I-
too.
Everybody loves a
I was a
nerd.
computer science
Nerds
major.
are
Like, that's-
running the world,
yeah,
man.
Totally.
Yeah.
Nerds run the
So,
world. They
I want to
do.
thank the listeners. I know we all got very excited about this one. And I
Woo,
really
woo,
hope
woo.
you enjoy. And until next time, friends, we'll see you
Yes.
soon.
Hey, peace out.
Peace out.
It was fun.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Brains, Brawn, and Bougie. Thanks for listening, friends.
Be sure to follow our podcast so you're the first to know when a new episode drops. And please, don't forget to share with your friends.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas, so drop us a note at info@brainsbrawnandbougie.com. Until next time, don't forget to bring the brains, bring the brawn, and always bring the bougie.
Brains, brawn, and bougie, yeah, we bring the whole thing. Smart talk, strong moves, living life like a queen. Tune in, level up, every week we go deep. Brains, brawn, and bougie, this is where you find your peak.